Have you read a story in the Draoithe Saga and come away with a classic case of immersion after effect? Let me guess, there are questions which remain unanswered even as the magic expanded, adding another layer to the dream. The grand desire to turn the page to discover what happened next ended with the last leaf turned. If you're asking where the remedy for the book hangover is, you know the answer: read another story. But you aren't ready for the next tale, not yet. The dust needs to settle before you pick up the next volume. So you have found your way here. You aren't alone. Even the author can't get enough. As you hear this, Ophelia Key writes on. But allow me to offer you a possibility, a reflection on the tale you recently finished, and a way to revisit the story to ease the story blues. Welcome to the Draoithe Saga After Party. Warning, spoiler alerts ahead. Turn back now if you wish to read the story blind.
Grab a good drink, curl up in a good seat, choose a book from the saga, and escape into the dream while you meet the men and women who call it home. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're stepping into a really unique world of urban fantasy and paranormal romance. My co-host has been digging into devilsins.pdf by Ophelia Key. So what makes this source stand out for our deep dive today? And what's our goal here?
Yeah, this one's great. It's just packed with fascinating lore, really deep character arcs, and gives a fresh spin on some classic fantasy ideas. Our mission, basically, is to cut through all the detail, give you the absolute core insights, a shortcut to understanding the complex characters, the unique magic system, the story, hopefully deliver some aha moments. At its heart, it's part of this huge saga called Draoithe. It's a world where myths, legends, fairy tales, they all live side by side with, the strange and wonderful, and often characters find balance through these fated life mates, bringing ancient magic back to life. Specifically today, Devil Sins. It's a story really focused on redemption, resilience, and those fated mates. Oh, and just a heads up for everyone listening, especially our mature audience, this one is marked 18 plus RVA. It does promise a happily ever after, that's HEA, and no cheating NC, which are, common tags in romance that promise a certain kind of ending. But it also comes with a warning: adult themes, fantasy violence, and potentially explicit sexual situations. So definitely intended for mature readers.
Okay, got it. So to really get Amrita and Daniel's story, we need to understand this world first. What exactly is this dream we're stepping into with Draoithe?
Right, so Draoithe is this ancient immortal kingdom. It was founded way back in a place called the Deal, which is like this powerful, mystical realm. The magic there is super potent, but also often targeted, by forces trying to mess things up. Its whole purpose was to fight back against those unbalancing the magic. It's a huge saga, really. A long story told through the eyes of all these interconnected couples covering a massive history. Devil Sins is set mostly in the year 01 Cease, and the main location is this kind of magical realist version of Tyler, Texas. And yeah, other magical kingdoms pop up, often working with the Draoithe pack to stop this main villain, Peter Elliott.
Okay, Tyler, Texas with ancient magic, I like it. And who are the absolute central figures we're zeroing in on in Devil Sins? What makes them so key?
The heart of this story, it's these two individuals, Amrita Sainte and Daniel Leiriu. They are a really unlikely pair. And our dive today will show how their struggles, which seem opposite but are actually deeply tangled, Amrita needing to heal from just horrific trauma, and Daniel seeking penance for 1,000 years of madness, how that pulls them together. It's pretty extraordinary.
1,000 years of madness, wow. You mentioned their pasts are important. This saga clearly has deep roots. Can you give us a sense of that ancient history, especially with figures like Lucifer and the Amazons? How do they connect to Daniel?
Absolutely. Daniel's torment, it goes way, way back, ancient history, back to 1323. We learn about key figures like Amrita Sainte, who taught survival lessons. But the real root of Daniel's problems, it's tied to the story of Lucifer, king of devils, and actually Daniel's brother and his love for an Amazon princess, Ophelia. The trouble really starts with this jealous demon lady, Bushiasta. She manipulated a powerful white dragon, Maid Breach, who then fed Daniel lies. This whole ancient betrayal led to immense destruction, wars, and ultimately the really tragic death of Ophelia, Lucifer's love. Then you have Archangel Phanuel and Hippolyta. She's the queen of Amazons. And Orlei's twin sister, they stepped in and gave the Amazons control over dream magic. So there's this whole cascade of events, this complex web that shattered Daniel's sanity and sent him down this incredibly dark path.
Wow, okay, that's a lot of ancient drama leading to his torment.
Yeah.
Incredibly intricate. How did Daniel himself get caught up in all that? What was he like before this fall?
Right, before everything went wrong, Daniel Leiriu was actually royalty. Second son, a prince of the House of Leiriu, a ruling family in the Dorja, another powerful magical realm. But he actually renounced his claim to the crown. Chose the life of a knight, faithful service, but he got tangled in the plot spun by Bushiasta and Mead Breach. Just completely ensnared, he suffered this massive heartbreak and betrayal, and that's what finally broke him, led to him losing his sanity back in the Lane deal.
Okay, so let's jump forward. Amrita Sainte, 2016. Her story starts almost on a high note, right? Before everything changes.
Yeah, Amrita was right on the edge of musical success, really talented guitarist, but right after the best concert of her life, her secret gift, she had levitation powers, caught the wrong kind of attention. She was kidnapped, tortured, in one of Peter Elliott's awful horror houses. What she went through was just unimaginable. Hand crushed, arm snapped, acid poured on her face, left her permanently blind and disfigured.
That's just horrific. Truly gut-wrenching. How does someone even begin to come back from that? What was the turning point for her at Draoithe?
It was a miracle rescue, really, by this character called the Mad Dragon Fury. He actually bled for her using some kind of arcane blood magic, which basically claimed her as family. After that, she got intensive care at Draoithe. Powerful white magic from Julian, he's an archmage, and Jewel, a sorceress. Skye, who's Fury's fiancé, helped her learn independence, gave her a white cane. And then Luke Mendez and Javier Maguire, they co-owned Draoithe. They saw her talent, her resilience, and offered her a job. Musician, significant salary, benefits, even a personal assistant.
Okay, so she's starting to rebuild. Meanwhile, Daniel Leiriu, wandering for 1,000 years. What kind of state is he in when we meet him in this time frame?
Oh, Daniel's been living a waking nightmare for a millennium. His magic, this raw chaos magic, it's fundamentally unbalanced in the Lean deal. It manifests as these constant voices in his head, severe psychotic breaks. It's literally tearing his mind apart from the inside. He's just drowning in self-loathing, burdened by 1,000 years of crimes. I mean, robbing basilisks, ruining castles, leading the villain Elliot to another castle, selling dangerous netherworld knowledge, unleashing monsters like revenants, grotesques, nightmares. The sheer destruction caused by his unbalanced chaos is immense. He's completely broken. He actually wants death, sees execution as the only possible mercy, the only absolution.
About a rock bottom for both of them then. Amrita recovering from this awful trauma, Daniel literally begging for death. How do their paths finally cross? What brings them together?
Well, Daniel's centuries of chaos eventually led him to break a specific law, the law of Airly. And that really angered Queen Hippolyta, the Amazon queen. This triggered a joint mission, Amazons and Draoithe working together to capture him. You had powerful figures involved, Julian, Zephyra, Luke, Dross, Drake, Lorelei, a whole team. But the capture itself was strange. Daniel was apparently enchanted by a beautiful sound, some kind of elfish host music, and he just willingly knelt, whispered finally to the ones capturing him.
Finally, wow. After 1,000 years on the run, that's quite something. Why was he suddenly so willing to be caught?
Well, Julian, the Archmage, he saw something others maybe didn't. He didn't just see a villain, he saw a broken, pitiable soul, someone desperate for healing, not just punishment. So Julian steps in. He claims Daniel as his slave, forces him to swear this powerful oath. He shackles and collars Daniel, which crucially cuts off his direct link to that chaos magic that's been torturing him. And the effect is immediate. Daniel experiences this glorious peace. The voices, the mental breaks, they just stop. After centuries, the silence in his head must have been overwhelming.
So Julian goes for healing, not execution. How did the others take that? Especially Luke, given Daniel's connection to Amrita's suffering. And how does Amrita fit into this plan?
Luke, yeah, he's the dire wolf king, and he was initially really hesitant. He saw Daniel as the root cause of Amrita's pain because of all the chaos he'd unleashed. But Dross, the first wizard, threw in this cryptic comment, said something like, Ciri said it was to be this way and that Daniel was supposed to aid Luke somehow. That made Luke pause, reconsider, and then he had this realization. Daniel needed a very specific kind of bond to truly heal, a mate who functions as his host. Someone chaste and gifted, someone who can live in the dark, whose own magic, presumably more ordered, could balance Daniel's chaos. And Amrita, well, she fit perfectly. Human, gifted with levitation, innocent despite her trauma, and blind, literally living in the dark.
That clicks. It makes perfect sense. So Daniel's healing path gets completely tied up with Amrita's future, her recovery. What was Daniel's take on this? Unexpected new assignment.
Exactly. It intertwines their fates. Daniel gets assigned to Amrita's care, 204/7, personal assistant, bodyguard. Julian even gives him a staff, which is actually a forbidden weapon for slaves specifically to protect her, acknowledging, Daniel might have to break rules, but accepting those consequences for Amrita's safety. For Daniel, it creates this internal conflict. He feels like a knight again, like he has a purpose, even though he's technically a slave. This new focus, the service, it fuels his commitment to paying his penance, making up for his past through this selfless duty.
Okay, so we have Amrita, blind, disfigured, starting over, and Daniel, this tormented devil trying to atone. What does their day-to-day actually look like as they start building this routine?
Well, from Amrita's side, there's definitely initial fear, a male assistant, given her trauma. But Daniel's voice, described as deep, velvet smooth, it apparently soothes her right away. She's incredibly direct with him, demands he rearrange all the furniture so her suite feels normal to navigate, and Daniel just does it, willingly. She pretty quickly figures out he's dragon-sworn, bound by these ancient, powerful oaths to a dragon, though she doesn't grasp the full weight of that yet. Her hope for music comes flooding back. She really wants to play with the other Draoithe musicians. She even asks Daniel to learn how to write music notation to help her compose. And his response is immediate, totally serious commitment. There's this playful moment, too, where she asks him to dress like a dashingly handsome devil instead of his simple robes, and he actually agrees. So she starts feeling like she's reclaiming her independence, paradoxically, even as she relies on him.
And Daniel, how's he handling all this from his side? With his internal struggles, the weight of his past, seeing her injuries.
It's tough for him. He really struggles with seeing Amrita's disfigurement. He confesses this pain later to Blaze, who's like his assigned confessor figure. But the main thing for him is the peace. The silence in his head after the chaos stops. It's profound. He throws himself into serving her, diligent, learns music with help from others like Misty, Angel, Axel. He even secretly practices with forbidden weapons, just in case he needs to protect her. And yeah, feelings start developing. He wrestles with the line between service and, friendship, or maybe more. He feels this weird discomfort when she calls him handsome devil, but he also kind of likes it when she claims him as hers. Mess. The hardest part, though, is the nightly confessions. He's forced to report to Blaze about any transgressions, looking at her, touching her hand accidentally, dressing like a man for her, his unclean feelings. And he gets punished physically for it, harsh whippings, but he justifies it, sees it as penance, payment for his past sins. He also really grapples with her being mortal. There's a line where he says, "I don't like it. I don't like a lot of things, but I can't change them all." That hits hard.
So a bit of that classic, I hate that you said it, but I secretly love it situation for a tormented devil, huh?
Sounds like it, yeah.
This delicate balance they found, this routine, it feels fragile. It can't just stay like that, can it?
Yeah.
What happens when things shift, when the connection gets too strong to ignore?
You're spot on. That balance was always going to tip. Amrita starts relying on him more and more, sees him as a partner, not just staff. His voice soothes her, his presence helps her write music, her feelings deepen. She starts thinking, he should be hers. Gets frustrated that he leaves every single night for those confessions. Then comes the turning point. She kisses him. And Daniel, trapped by his oaths, his feeling of unworthiness, his fear of his own darkness, he just leaves, pulls away. That sends Amrita spiraling. She drinks wine, feels utterly rejected, breaks down crying, and it's in that vulnerable state that she learns about Daniel's past from Angel, about his lost love, maid breach, a pregnancy, her running away, and then the 1,000 years of psychotic torment caused by his magic.
Oh, wow. And Daniel's reaction to the kiss.
Yeah.
And then Amrita finding out about his nightly torture. How does that play out?
Daniel is just in agony when she shuts him out after the kiss. During his confession that night, he admits it to Blaze. He's madly in love with Amrita. His desperation to keep serving her, to purify himself so he can stay near her, it pushes him to do something drastic. He reveals his secret. He goes back to her, takes off his shirt, and shows her the fresh lacerations from Blaze's rip. His black blood literally stains her hands. And he has this huge, powerful, emotional outburst. Explains the confessions are penance to cleanse his wrong thoughts, his unclean feelings, specifically so he can continue to serve her. He also pours out the pain of watching her struggle, knowing she's mortal, knowing he'll eventually watch her die. It's incredibly raw.
That is, incredibly raw. A huge moment of vulnerability. So what does it all lead to for them, for the saga? The resolution sounds like it must be pretty extraordinary.
It really is. The climax is something else. Daniel initially still fights it. Bound by his devil nature, his fear, he rejects her desire for love, says something harsh like, "Devils don't love things, we fuck things." He's terrified of damaging her with his chaos. But Amrita doesn't back down. She's persistent, demands him. You want me. I can feel it. Don't deny me, Danny. I want you to take me, please. And she links it all together, saying, I can't have music without you, and I can't have you without the music. Just, wow. Daniel finally surrenders to his desire, to her command. He cuts his own finger, feeds her his black blood. It numbs pain, speeds healing, and then they become intimate.
Yeah, and then unleashing Daniel's chaos magic in that moment of connection, what happens then?
The whole room is just engulfed in this blackest black. His chaos magic is fully unleashed. And then this profound transformation happens. Amrita bites Daniel, drinks his black blood again, and his soul literally fuses with hers. She emerges changed. She becomes a vixen, which is like this new, powerful being in their world. She has tiny red horns, soft red feathers. Her eyes turn red claws on her fingers. As you can see, Daniel realizes she's his fated vixen. Julian then confirms this was sort of the plan, or at least the necessary outcome. Daniel needed a mate host, like Amrita, someone innocent, gifted, who genuinely wanted him, and crucially, who could now contain and balance his chaotic power. Julian makes sure Daniel technically remains a slave, but only to Amrita now. She holds his magic. And Luke strategically accepts it, admits he and Julian kind of interfered to make sure Daniel was firmly entrenched with the pack. He sees Daniel as too alpha to just be a servant. Now he's a free devil working for us. Daniel's freedom isn't just personal. With Amrita containing his chaos, it's literally an apocalypse denied. It's vital for protecting Draoithe from the kind of destruction Daniel himself once represented. His darkness becomes their salvation, in a way.
That is an absolutely incredible resolution. So Daniel finds his freedom, his peace, his home, all through Amrita, and she gets her sight back, plus this deep partner in life and music. That sounds like the ultimate win for both of them and for the whole Draoithe world.
That is exactly it. Daniel now belongs to the House of Sentat through Amrita, his vixen. That bond frees him from the madness. Their connection perfectly balances his chaos with her order, and music is her embodiment of that order. No more nightly confessions, no more torture. He belongs entirely to Amrita. And yeah, the story wraps up with that powerful line. It seemed a devil's sins had become an apocalypse denied. It really shows how deep flaws, met with the right connection, can transform into strengths.
What an amazing deep dive. The takeaways here are just so resonant, aren't they? Redemption not just through duty, but through this fated, powerful connection. Finding peace where you least expect it. The transformative power of acceptance, of love, really. And how even deeply broken people can find wholeness, purpose, in a way that actually saves others too. It's a fascinating twist on fated mates and urban fantasy.
It really is. And it's a compelling reminder, I think, that sometimes the biggest challenges we face can lead to the most profound growth, both personally and in our relationships. It's a powerful story showing that even in the absolute darkest situations, hope, love, maybe a little bit of unexpected magic, they can lead to that glorious peace.
So for you listening, here's something to think about. If chaos itself, like Daniel's, can find its balance through connection, through something like music, what seemingly opposite forces might be hiding in your own life, just waiting for their chance to find harmony?
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. For more, visit opheliakey.com. Welcome to the dream. Sincerely. Okay.